is my first time ever doing this, and in the Bible, it tells us not to judge, so I want y'all to keep that in mind this morning. But so I was asked to speak this morning 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I prayed about it, and the next night, I just felt God touch me and say, go do it. Go to camp and speak my word. And I was like, all right, I'll trust you. But anyways, I felt since last night we had rededication and people give their lives to the Lord that I need to talk about faith and what faith is and doubts in faith. Now, the past few days we have been talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Last night we heard about Paul and how he went to do the Lord's work and got thrown in jail and whipped for it. And I was just thinking, they had to have their doubts in their faith. There's no way that you could go and get burned alive, and there's no way that you could go get whipped and beat and thrown in jail and not have your doubts in faith. We heard Hannah get interviewed Tuesday night, and she's had cancer twice, and now she's had surgery, and she has a blood clot in her leg. And we heard her get interviewed up here, and she has had doubts or fear in her faith. That God, where are you in this moment? I don't see where you are. I don't see what you are doing in my life right now. Everything sucks. There's nothing going good for me, and I just don't see you anywhere. There's another guy in the Bible, he didn't get beat or burned alive. I mean, not at least in this story I'm about to read to you, but it was still a really big deal. So it's about Paul walking on water. That's a big deal. So a little background. Jesus went to this island to pray, and they all waited out on the boat. And by the time Jesus was done praying, the boat had drifted far away. So Jesus, he just goes and he walks on the water. No big deal. And they think it's a ghost when they see him, and they're all terrified. But the Lord, Jesus says, "For do not be afraid, it is I." And Peter comes over, and he says, "Lord, if it is really you, tell me to come to you walking on water." Jesus says, "Yeah, come on." So Peter walked over the side of the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and waves, he was terrified and began to sink. I think that's how a lot of us are. I think a lot of us, we're strong in our faith when we first come to know the Lord. But then as time goes on, we get challenged, and we start to drift away. I've had my struggles with it. As we know, we've heard Hannah, she's had her struggles with it. These guys, they were getting burned alive and whipped and beat. You gotta know they had their struggles. And that's fine. It's always fine to have doubts, but just don't go too far away from the boat. Now, we show up to camp, and we have a lot of fun. And last night was probably the biggest night that we're going to have at camp. We had probably half the camp up there standing, where there was people who had given their lives to Jesus or rededicated their lives, and it was just amazing last night. But then, now we're all faithful and ready to serve, but then when we go back out into the real world, I know I've struggled with it. We go to school, and we're worried about being thought of differently, treated differently, because we have given our lives to the Lord, but the Lord wants us to spread His word. And I know it's hard to do, especially at school, whenever you're around. In high school, I'm in high school. I'm going to be a sophomore this year, and there's plenty of things that kids do in high school that I never saw in elementary school or middle school. And just tears me apart to see kids so far away from Jesus. But that's why I need to be the light in those people's lives. I don't know what's going on at their home. Like we heard yesterday with the morning speaker of the bus driver, which was amazing. I was so happy that I got to hear her speak. But she was here yesterday morning, and she and her two sisters had got beat and abused, and they didn't know that that they were being abused. They thought it was just punishment. They thought it was just like a spanking. But I never know what's going on in someone's home, whether they're getting abused by their father, mother, brother. But that's why I'm here. I need to be the light in their lives. I need to spread the word of Jesus to them. Now, I've served the God who sacrificed his son so that we could all be here right now. Not so we could all be here right now, but so we could have a relationship with the Lord in heaven. I doubt there's too many dads in here who would be willing to sacrifice their son on the spot right now, just for a couple other kids. But he gave his one and only son so that we could have a relationship with him. And I heard my dad say it almost every time he preaches, but we were made on purpose for a purpose. That means we were put here on this earth so that we could do God's will. But you have to trust and have faith that he knows what he's doing and that he loves you and that you're going to be fine. But you just have to walk the path that the Lord is leading you. And that's all I have to say for this morning.